There's this lucid dreaming technique called the phase by Michael Raduga, the guy who drilled his head open to put a brain chip in there and like get better at lucid dreaming. So you know this technique's gonna be good when it's made by him, bro. But I kind of dismissed it because I saw a lot of people talking about it like over the year or whatever. I saw a lot of people commenting about the phase, or you should check out the phase and shit. And I dismissed it, I guess, because I saw it was also talked about like out of body experiences in the context of that and like astral projection. I saw people talking about it for like reality shifting and shit. So I either thought I guess it's just not for me, or like maybe it would be too convoluted or some shit like kind of complex and not really good for you. But actually I was kind of retarded. I was kind of retarded, bro. I shouldn't have dismissed it because I was reading a paper and firstly it explained it really well and it seems like a really efficient technique actually, and it makes total sense. And I guess I've kind of unintentionally done it before. It makes complete sense to me. Also, Michael Raduga, he like got a lot of results from people who tried it, even if they haven't had any lucid dreams before and they've had no experience with it. A lot of those people got success with this technique after a day or two of trying. They got lucid dreams after a day or two without ever having lucid dream before. And that makes total sense to me because it's basically taking advantage of hypnopompic hallucinations, which are like the hallucinations you get as you're waking up from a dream. So those are the opposite things to hypnagogic hallucinations, which are these kind of weird things that happen in your brain as you're falling asleep. So hypnopompic hallucinations, I don't know if you've had this thing before, bro, but maybe you've had it where you wake up and you're still really sleepy, and either you have like really vivid images in your brain's kind of like schizo ranting and going off on weird tangents. This links in with the technique, okay? Or you have this thing where you're looking around your room but your eyes are closed. I don't know if you've ever had that shit, but I've had that, and I've seen a couple people have that as well. It's kind of weird. Those are just a couple examples of hypnopompic hallucinations. So if we can wake up and have these hypnopompic hallucinations and use them to reform a dream again, because they're literally remnants of your dreams, reform a dream and then re-enter into the dream and become lucid, then you have a lucid dream from waking up without having to wake up in the middle of the night, without having to do a technique as you're falling asleep and fucking enter straight into a dream with consciousness, or like do a technique before you fall asleep, or reality checks, or like any of that shit. Or if you're able to like disassociate from your body as you wake up, which I'll talk about more, then you can enter straight into a lucid dream. And this is like the perfect time to do that. And you may already have the hypnopompic hallucinations when you wake up, so then you can like really easily enter into a dream. So all you need to do is you need to do this technique maybe like on a weekend or some day where you can sleep in a little longer, because you're doing it when you wake up. You don't have to do anything before that. So you, except like maybe mentally rehearse the technique so you kind of know what to do. But you need to do it, yeah, when you can kind of sleep in more, because you're going to fall back asleep and enter into a lucid dream. Or you can tell yourself, if you wake up at like 8 a.m. normally, before you go to bed, tell yourself, I'll wake up at 7 a.m. I'll wake up at 7 a.m. And then your brain will probably wake you up like an hour before you are meant to wake up, and then you can do the technique. Keep in mind, you shouldn't worry about this disrupting your sleep too much, because you don't have to get up, you don't have to stay awake. You're literally waking up, staying completely still, and then doing the technique. So the first step is to just set the intention to do the technique, bro. Like before you go to bed, tell yourself, when I wake up, I'm gonna stay still and do this technique. And you can mentally rehearse it as well after like I give you all the steps. So then you want to wake up, you want to stay still and try and disassociate from your body after staying still. And when I say disassociate, you want to do something like imagining rolling out of your bed, or maybe imagine levitating up from your body, or kind of just standing up from your body, but don't actually move. You're kind of visualizing this. Imagine if you're like trying to have an outer body experience, or like trying to astral project or some shit like that. Now, if this works, which it has a much higher chance of it working because you're going to still be in this half asleep state, then you will feel like you've really left your body, bro, and you'll be able to walk around in your room and go and have a lucid dream and do anything you want and go fly or whatever. Of course, it's also good to have a plan of action. So like think about what you want to do in your lucid dream, because like that'll keep you focused and set intention in of itself. So after you've done that, and you've disassociated, go have a fun lucid dream or whatever. Now, what do you do if the disassociation technique does not work? Also, just excuse my pronunciation because it probably sounds fucking retarded because I can't speak properly. What do you do if that doesn't work? You want to start then inducing hypnopompic imagery. Also, this you can also do this if you moved too much as well. If it doesn't work or if you move too much, you can start inducing hypnopompic imagery. And that's the great thing about this technique, is that all the techniques, bro, they kind of, it's like if you fail them, it's like fuck, you're fucking cooked, bro. You kind of have to wait until the next night. You can't do anything today. You need to wait until tomorrow. But this technique is like, if something messes up or if something doesn't work, there's like 3 other fallbacks you can just go back on and like keep trying. So this like gives you a really, really good chance of having a lucid dream, because like you don't fail until you've tried like 5 different fucking things, bro. So to induce hypnopompic imagery, if the dissociation thing didn't work, you want to start doing things like try and imagine swimming, or you can try and create images in your head. Or a good one, which is the thing I mentioned earlier, is try and see your room while keeping your eyes closed. And all these things, like trying to see your room or imagining the motions of swimming without actually moving, right? They kind of make your brain start forming hypnopompic imagery. And you want to start doing that and keep amplifying it and keep amplifying it. Now, once again, your brain should be much more likely to create this imagery, and cycle through a couple of these techniques for like 3 to 10 seconds each. So for example, imagine you're doing swimming motions while staying completely still. Do that for like 3 to 10 seconds. The exact number isn't important. And then after you've done that, do another technique, like trying to see your room without actually opening your eyes. And then do another technique like trying to move your arm, visualize moving your arm without actually moving your arm. And all these are helping your brain create like hypnopompic imagery, and do a couple of them for like 10 seconds each. Now, you may notice you start actually feeling motion in your arm without moving, or you may notice you actually start seeing your room while keeping your eyes closed. Now then, here's a good chance that you enter straight into a lucid dream then. And since the hypnopompic imagery has become so vivid, it then forms into a dream. So that's another way this can get you lucid. What do you do if the hypnopompic imagery didn't get you lucid? It didn't become vivid enough to do it. That is completely fine. Then you want to do the dissociation technique from earlier. So say you have hypnopompic imagery now, you want to start doing this dissociation technique, and you want to start trying to levitate out from your body, or start trying to imagine yourself rolling over. That's probably the most common thing, is rolling out of your body or trying to leave your body, right? And if that works, then you will be in a lucid dream and everything will go well. Now, what do you do if the dissociation thing doesn't work? You want to try and go back and start doing the hypnopompic imagery again. Now, this may sound like, why am I just repeating this? It didn't work. But bro, there's a good chance if it didn't work on the first try or second try, it may work on the third try. And it may sound retarded because like you just keep doing it, but there's a good chance it will keep working, or it will start working on like the third try. So start doing it again. Start doing the hypnopompic imagery techniques. Start amplifying it. Try disassociating. Now, what do you do if none of this works, bro? If none of this fucking works at all, or if no hypnopompic imagery formed, if the dissociation thing never fucking worked, you want to go back to the hypnopompic imagery techniques, but this time start doing the techniques for 1 minute each. So before you were doing that for just like 3 to 10 seconds each. I hope I'm not like talking too quickly. I'll also write, this is kind of complex, so I will write down the steps in the description, send you like the link to the study or whatever on it if you want the steps yourself, because I may be making it sound convoluted. But if none of that worked, you want to do the hypnopompic imagery for 1 minute. And this really, really should help your brain do the imagery thing. And once again, after you've done that, then do the dissociation technique. So do one hypnopompic imagery technique for a minute, do another one for a minute, or if you just notice that it's coming on, start amplifying the hypnopompic imagery. And by amplify, I mean literally just continue doing the technique. dissociate, and then you should enter into a lucid dream. Now, what do you do if none of that worked? If none of that shit worked at all, you want to fall asleep normally, okay? And now you may be thinking, fuck, the technique's failed, I'm cooked, now I just have to fall asleep in defeat, I'm a fucking retard. Do not think that, bro. Like all these lucid dreaming techniques, there is still a better chance of you having a lucid dream when you fall asleep normally than the chance you would have had if you didn't do the technique at all. Because the very act of doing the technique and doing all these motions and doing the hypnopompic shit and trying to dissociate, it raised your awareness and helped set an intention to lucid dream. So even after all of those steps, if you just fall asleep normally, there is still a good chance you will enter into a dream and have a lucid dream. And that's why it's good to do this technique like when you're able to sleep in more, or before you initially like fall asleep, or like before you initially wake up, you still have a chance of entering into a lucid dream. This is why this technique is so fucking good, and I'm kind of pissed at myself that I dismissed it, because there is no other lucid dreaming technique, bro, that has as many fallbacks as this one. There is no other technique that has like, you failed it, go on to the next step. That failed, go on to the next step. That failed, go on to the next step, bro. Like, there's no other technique like that, which I think is why this is really good. So I think you should probably try that. And the thing with hypnopompic imagery is that it's much easier to control than hypnagogic imagery. So a lot of people will try and do techniques with hypnagogic imagery, and they try and fall asleep initially and enter straight into a dream. But when they focus on the hypnagogic imagery in their head and like vivid images in their head, you see a lot of stories of this. It's like they just jolt awake, right? It doesn't really work. But I find that with hypnopompic imagery, it's much easier to focus on without it jolting you awake, which is why that actually makes this like a perfect technique that I feel I've done intentionally before without kind of realizing what it was. I saw Michael Raduga actually made a study on how females are better at lucid dreaming as well. Apparently females are better at lucid dreaming. I don't know why, but we are all identifying as a female in 2025, okay? We are all identifying as a fucking female to get those lucid dreams, bro. I'm speaking for everyone, including you. But I hope that technique helps. I haven't talked about it before, but it's kind of interesting. It sounds very fucking effective. I can't lie. That sounds based as fuck. So I hope that helps. Goodbye. Do not join the Discord. Leave me a mean comment. Unsubscribe. Never ever join the fucking Discord. Goodbye. I love you. I love you.